All right, let's talk about something that feels really simple but is actually pretty deep. We're going to explore an idea that can totally change how you think about those quiet moments. We're talking about the hidden power of silence.
So think about this. Have you ever been in a conversation where there's that pause? And it just feels kind of awkward, right? Most of us, our first instinct is to just fill that space with noise. We tend to treat silence like it's nothing, just empty space. But what if that's not true at all?
Well, here's the idea from our source material that's going to flip that whole feeling on its head. It says that silence isn't empty, it's actually full of answers. So it's not about a lack of something, it's the presence of something really, really valuable.
Okay, so how is that even possible? How can a space with literally no words be full of anything? Let's break this down, because this is where it gets really interesting. We're talking about silence not as an absence, but as a presence. You know, this really requires a total mindset shift. Most of us are kind of conditioned to see silence as empty, awkward, or, just a lack of words. But the deeper reality? It's the complete opposite. It's a space that's full of answers, it's a chance for some real clarity, and honestly, it can be a huge sign of strength.
So, what are we actually saying when we say silence is full of answers? Well, think about it. It's when you finally turn down the volume on the outside world. You know, the pings, the notifications, all the chatter. That's when you can finally hear what's going on inside. It's where you get to reflect and really start to figure things out for yourself.
Okay, but that's the million-dollar question, right? How do you actually learn to hear those answers? I mean, it's one thing to get the concept, but it's a whole other thing to actually do it. And the key, according to our source, isn't some secret trick or technique. It's just a part of growing up.
Yeah, exactly. This skill, this ability to find answers in the quiet, it's not something you can just learn from a book. It's something that comes with experience, with the wisdom that comes from maturity. And this journey, it probably sounds pretty familiar to a lot of us. You know, you start out with this impulse to just talk, to fill every single gap with words. But then life happens. You go through things. And those experiences teach you to maybe listen a little more and talk a little less. And that's when you start having those aha moments, you know? And pretty soon, you're not just putting up with silence, you're actively looking for it. You realize it's a tool, and a really powerful one at that.
And look, the source material we're looking at is super clear about this. It literally says once you get matured. It's not subtle, it's drawing a straight line between appreciating silence and just growing as a person. It's a skill that we build over time.
So what's the big payoff? What's the ultimate sign that you've reached this level of maturity? It's all about a massive shift in what you care about. You stop needing everyone else to tell you you're right, and you start focusing on finding your own inner peace.
One of the biggest things maturity helps us get past is that drive, that burning need to prove you're right in every argument, every single time. It's exhausting.
And that need to be right, where does that come from? It's almost always the ego. The ego loves being told it's right. It needs that external validation to feel good. So you end up focused on winning the argument, not on actually understanding anything. And what happens? You just end up with more arguments, more friction, more conflict. It's a dead end. But then, as we get older, as we mature, we start to see there's another way, a much more powerful and way more peaceful alternative. And that is simply valuing silence. So this other path, it's driven by wisdom, not by ego. You're not looking for applause from the outside. You're looking for clarity on the inside. The whole goal shifts. It's not about winning anymore. It's about finding peace. And wouldn't you know it, that's what actually leads to real resolution.
And that brings us right to the heart of it all, the big takeaway from our source. The real prize isn't getting the last word in. It's the peace and wisdom you get when you realize you don't have to fight every battle. Choosing silence, that isn't giving up. It's one of the biggest acts of self-respect you can make.
So that's what we've got for this explainer. And it leaves us with a pretty powerful question to ask ourselves. The next time you feel that pull, that urge to jump in and prove a point, what if you just didn't? What if you chose a moment of silence instead? What kind of answers, what kind of clarity do you think is just waiting for you in that quiet space?